Indiana, and California, two states that already require concussion awareness training for high school and youth football coaches. Could Illinois soon follow in their footsteps? Legislation has already passed the House and Senate and is expected to get Governor Quinn's signature soon. So this week in my Central Illinois Sports Report, I find out the impact this could have on players and coaches. No matter the reward, it's the impact you hate to hear. Contact can't be prevented in sports, but a law will likely aim to help athletic staff in Illinois recognize signs of a concussion. The bill headed to the governor's desk requires concussion training for high school coaches.
A lot of times players play through an injury, orthopedic injuries that might be okay in some instances, but when we're dealing with the brain, playing through a concussion is not advisable, and the more people that know it and understand it can remove players when it becomes a problem.
This measure would require the Illinois High School Association to put together a training program on the dangers of head injuries. Athletic staff would take a course every 2 years.
More people that are aware of concussion is going to help identify the issue. The biggest problem with concussions is not actually the injury itself, it's just the identification and management of the injury.
I spoke to the IHSA about the training program, and it says we're working with experts with our Sports Medicine Advisory Committee and from around the state to make sure we're ready to go when it's passed. The IHSA says the test would be taken and monitored through the private part of the IHSA website. Each school and coach has their own private page that would track if they've completed all necessary items eligible to coach.
The pad level, good.
Head football coach at Mount Zion High School, Mike Popovich, understands concussion risks and supports the legislation, but knows that it also comes with challenges.
I think sometimes you won't be able to notice it, you won't be able to recognize it right away. I mean, it's not that we're not worried about the safety of our players, but at the same time, you're locked into the game, you have a trainer, that's why it's very, very important to have a trainer in your program.
But experts say as long as coaches are trained to recognize the signs of a concussion, having that extra set of eyes on the field can help.
I do think that this will give me more opportunity to get on top of a concussion earlier. Because if we have more awareness, if we have athletes get recognized sooner for having these potential symptoms, they can get in, get treated.
The head or even the body doesn't necessarily need to be hit hard to get a concussion. Smaller, repetitive hits can cause damage to the brain as well. Those subconcussive hits over time can create the same issue.
There's not necessarily a tear in the anatomy of the brain. There doesn't necessarily have to be a skull fracture. In fact, you don't even have to have loss of consciousness for a concussion to happen.
Repeat these words after me.
In fact, a majority of concussions happen without loss of consciousness.
Carpet.
Symptoms could include headaches, confusion, dizziness, and concentration impairment. The remedy? Rest.
There's no magic to this. There's no pill that we can prescribe that's magically going to make their concussion better. It's basically allowing the brain to rest.
And the earlier athletes can do that, improves their chances of having a strong recovery.